Hi there, this is Kank Snow for Lightspeed Saber League, the world's fastest light-based fencing. And I wanted to talk to you about something that I've been thinking about a little bit for a while now. And it all goes into the idea that I mentioned sometime back about being a good senior. Now, to be clear, I didn't come up with that term myself, so I definitely learned that from an Eskrima group. But yeah, I really like that idea about being a good senior. And when they say being a good senior, what they mean is how to be a good veteran member of your club. And so basically, if you've been there for a while and you've been part of a Lightspeed Saber team for a while, then you can consider yourself a senior member. And so it behooves you to be a good senior. And part of that means behaving yourself well with a beginner. But I think it goes beyond just behaving yourself well. We do ask people often, hey, please go easy on the beginners, things like that. But what does that mean exactly? That can mean quite a few things, actually. And I can think of two things in particular. It can mean don't hurt them, okay, which is important for sure, okay. And for some people, it can also mean, for example, letting them win, for example. And so that's why I'm thinking about not saying go easy anymore. I feel like that is not really giving the impression that we want to give, actually. And I think a better thing to talk about instead, when you're talking about a senior and you're assigning them to a beginner to work with, I think it's better to say, rather than go easy on them, to say give them a good experience. And the reason why I say that is because of something that I spotted recently at a practice with a beginner and one of my seniors. And he was sparring with her, and it was an actual matchup. And she was a new member to the team, and we were basically giving her a welcome beatdown, essentially. So we were having her fence everybody, and it was only her second or third day there, and she had just become an official member. And he would just sort of walk right up to her with his head leaned forward, and so that she could just hit him, And obviously that definitely falls into going easy. Okay, there's no doubt about that on this beginner. But I don't consider that a good experience, And that comes from a good place. That comes from a good place in the heart for sure. And it's definitely better than someone who decides to manhandle a beginner. But I think we can do better. So rather than go easy on a beginner, I think that we want to create a good experience. So what does that mean? Well, it definitely shouldn't mean, in my opinion, letting your beginner win, okay? You can still give a beginner a good experience and beat them soundly. So just to contrast what I did when it was my turn to face off against this beginner, I didn't give her any points. I didn't let her hit me one time. I never let her hit me. Okay, I did let her attack me, though. And that's a difference. That's an important difference. What I mean is, I didn't go too aggressive. I definitely could have run her off the field. Okay, I definitely could have just assaulted her constantly to the point that she would just collapse, essentially. Tactically speaking, I mean, not physically. But I didn't do that. I made a point to make sure that she had opportunities to come after me. Right? And I use those opportunities to go on the defensive and use counterattacks instead. So this is a bit more of what I mean by creating a good experience. Make a good experience for this beginner. I think that if you let them hit you, then you are A, belittling them, and B, disrespecting them, and C, you're not really giving them the opportunity to learn and or see what they are supposed to strive for, And I think all of the things are important to being a good senior and giving a beginner a good experience rather than simply going easy on them. So in some sense, I went easy on this beginner. I definitely could have beaten her a lot sooner, okay? And I definitely could have been more efficient, for example. I threw out a lot of attacks that were generally slow, okay, and if she didn't do anything about them, then she got hit, okay, and that was an opportunity for me to say, hey, be quick about it, get your hands out of the way, don't get hit, okay, and so that turned it into a learning opportunity. And so she instantly got better at that, because oftentimes beginners are not sure what they're supposed to do. They know what they can do, they know what they're capable of, but they're not sure what is okay or not okay, you know. And they may even expect that you to expect them to do something in particular that they learned that day, you know. And that's not necessarily the case, right? Sometimes a lot of learning happens right there on the field. So I didn't let her win. I certainly could have beaten her faster, right? But I was focused on giving her, again, a good experience. So there was opportunities for her to block, there were opportunities for her to attack, there were opportunities for her to dodge, there were lots of opportunities for her to do a lot of different things, and I never once let her hit me. I did leave myself vulnerable sometimes, meaning I let her go first, essentially. I let her open the engagement. And yeah, I took a couple hits once in a while. I think that's good, you know? And I didn't give those to her, okay? I tried to avoid them, right? And maybe I wasn't fully motivated to work as hard as I could have been, okay? But I didn't give her any points, okay? I never gave anything away. So whatever she earned from me was legitimate, and I think that is an important part of the experience. Just to reiterate, I think that shows better respect of the beginner. It doesn't belittle them. It gives them better opportunities to actually learn something, and it actually shows them what they are supposed to be striving for, okay? So once in a while, you know, I pulled out something real fast and just smashed her in the face, okay? And you know, that's okay, because I didn't do it every single time, in my opinion. I did it every once in a while, especially if I needed to even up the score a little bit, or maybe if she was just taking a little bit too long, you know? So I let it kind of go at her own pace, and if it was taking a little too long, then I sped it up when I had the opportunity and when it made sense. So I think that creates a much, much better experience for your beginner. So next time you're fencing against a beginner, rather than think about going easy on them, let's think about how to make it a good experience for them. Make sure that it is fun, make sure that it is still challenging, and you can even make it challenging for yourself. And I think one of the best things you can do to achieve all of that is actually just to let your encounters drag out a little bit longer. You know, you don't have to try quite so hard to score, but try hard to avoid getting hit though, okay? Because that allows the encounter to go a bit longer, and it gives a much better fight rhythm to the whole experience for your beginner. And so that is all I've got to say about being a better senior and creating a better experience for your beginner, okay? So I hope that's helpful, and I hope that this will help you keep and retain more of your beginners, right? And I think that they're going to advance faster and have a lot more fun when you come up at it with this kind of mindset, okay? So that's all I've got for you. Thanks for listening, and may the force be with you. I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye.